I'm not used to a microphone in church because the ceiling is different, so my voice naturally projects. So if you can't hear me, let me know, and Michael can jerk up the volume. I know Bill's mom and dad very well, and so I was in Kuwait in November, and I got a text message. Can you help me out in May by talking about this movie? And I agreed to do it, and so that's why I'm here this evening. And so this is for what? Cultural? This isn't a cinematic class, right? This isn't a study of theology class. Okay, and no matter what your major is, you have to have requirements in this? Good, very good. Well, it's nice to see so many people. I don't know, what do you call them? Do you call them Bill, or do you call them Mr. Dustin? Mr. Dustin, okay. He and his father and mother and his girlfriend and I watched the movie the other evening, and I think you'll enjoy it very much. Just briefly, so like, why are you here? I'm a parish priest in Boonville, New York, and I take care of Boonville, Forestport, Otter Lake, and any of the small hamlets in that area. If you've ever been up snowmobiling or skiing, it's up that way. And I've Navy chaplain for 20 years, and originally I'm from Binghamton. So I'm not here with a PhD to give you an academic dissertation, and I am not an exorcist. I'm just a parish priest. They do exist, but their identity is kept secret so that people don't drive them crazy. Every diocese has an exorcist, and so I guess from a cultural point of view, you have to be very careful. I asked Bill how to talk this evening, from what angle to come, because with evil you can come at it from a theological point of view, a psychological point of view, a sociological point of view, and any of the other logical point of views. So what I want to do is just briefly presuppose that evil exists. You don't understand an exorcism unless you first understand that the Church, the Catholic Church, believes that evil exists, not as the absence of good, but as a reality in and of itself, a reality that is intelligent. My spiritual director used to tell me that the closer you get to God, the more evil you will experience in your life. And the reason for this is that if you're not close to God, Satan doesn't need to work on you. His goal is accomplished. But if you are close to God, then Satan needs to work that much more to pull you away. And number one. And then number two, because at one time I was tall and dashing, the priest, my spiritual director, when I was in the seminary, used to tell me, I've always been tall and thin. I was very good looking at one time. He said, in all sincerity, he says, temptation is the most beautiful thing you'll ever experience. Because if evil approached us for the ugliness that it is, we wouldn't be attracted to it, and it would never have a chance of winning us over. But when evil comes to us in a very desirable way, then it makes the temptation that much more difficult to resist, and the possibility is greater for Satan to win our soul. In the movie, you're going to find what I thought the main theme of the movie is not the struggle against God and Satan in a theological way, but rather the main part of the movie is the struggle of good and evil within your own heart. And our hero in the movie is a young actor from Ireland. His American English accent is excellent. You wouldn't even know he was from Ireland. So our hero in the movie, the struggle with good and evil on the outside that he's going to deal with is secondary to the struggle between good and evil on the inside. If you believe in God, do you live accordingly? You can't say, I believe in God, and then live like you don't. Because if that's the case, then you don't. If you believe in God, you will live accordingly. And as a priest, a Catholic priest, then I would add to that, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you will live accordingly. You can't say, this is what I believe, really, but then not live. And this is the struggle that our hero in this evening's movie has to go through. And then added to that, how willing are you to fight for what you believe in? And it isn't the fighting out here. That's easy. Anybody can swing a fist at another man. It's the fighting in here. My own experience of evil is not as dramatic as what you're going to see in the movie. My own experience, and I don't think it's just psychology, but again, I'm very prejudiced. I'm a company man. I believe evil is also present in these experiences, and that's the experiences I have with our sailors and our Marines when they come home. The reintegration, the temptation to leave your wife or your husband, the temptation to leave your boyfriend or your girlfriend, the temptation to turn to alcohol as a fix instead of dealing with what happened to you overseas. Now, I'm just giving you my own personal experience. Anybody here who's been around with that may have their own experiences in different venues in life. But I see more of it as a real struggle between good and evil inside a person's heart in our servicemen who return home, it's men and women who return home, than I do as a parish priest giving communion to little old ladies in Boonville, or saying Mass for families, or First Communion kids, or whatever. A large gamut in the parish as far as age goes. But the domestic violence, the suicides, and so on that our service members, those temptations that our service members and their families have to struggle with, it's more than just psychology. That would be an easy write-off. Take some pills, go for counseling, you'll be fine. But anybody who goes through it knows that the temptation is greater than anything a few pills can cure or counsel. So that's my own personal experience. And so when you watch the movie, maybe if you can identify with the hero of today's movie, this evening's movie, it'll force you to ask yourself, I know it did myself when I was with Bill and his family, Mr. Custer and his family. I started asking, first it reminded me of when I went to seminary and some of the struggles I had, because he goes through some of those, we'll see that. And then, why stick it out? I mean, eventually he has to come to that in the movie, doesn't he? And so it forced me to have to ask my question. And I won't tell you whether he sticks it out or not. I think we'll be quite surprised at the end of the movie. But, why do you stay doing what you do? So that's the question I would ask you with your cultural awareness, how this fits in. All right, we're all here going to college, or some are visiting because they're involved somehow in what this campus offers, and they live in the community and take advantage of the great opportunities at this college. But we're all here, and the idea is to learn more about others. But hopefully in doing so, we learn a little bit about ourselves. Some of what you see is going to be Hollywood. Some of it is based on truth. The church does have exorcism. There's exorcism in the Islamic faith, the Christian faith, the Jewish faith. All right, each one is different based on their theology of evil. But what you see does exist. The Holy Roman Catholic Church believes in exorcism as a form of casting out demons who possess the human body. And now, not everything you see is Hollywood. You got to make money. So, but there are people in the church called exorcists, and just historically speaking, in the early days of Jesus Christ, he exorcised demons. You can see that in the Bible, in the New Testament. The fellow running around the cemetery, among the tombs, and he was possessed by legion. The early church allowed everybody to do exorcisms, any Christian. But that was early in the apostolic times. As the church began to mature and develop more, exorcism is reserved to the priest, and it's a priest who is trained and named as an exorcist, not just any priest. So you go for training, and then you can't just say, "Oh, Father, we need an exorcism." The church does not do an exorcism until all medical and psychological reason for whatever's going on has been put aside. When all the doctors, the shrinks, as well as the medical doctors, when they all say we don't know what's going on, then the church will begin to look seriously at the possibility of demonic possession. So it sounds a little scattered because it is, because Bill didn't really give me a good outline on how to approach it, but I enjoyed the movie very much, and I think you will. Anything with Anthony Hopkins in it, it's a sure win. He's a great actor, and one of the few actors who can be so kind and so gentle one minute, and such a tender smile, and play the meanest son of a biscuit you have ever met in your life at the same time. So we'll just end on a light note. If you're ever up north, you're welcome to stop in St. Joseph's, St. Patrick's, or St. Mary up the snows. There's still some snow in the backyard, just a little patch. It'll be gone by tomorrow. And if you're up that way, he introduced me, Mr. Dustin, introduced me as Father Sean O'Brien. Just keep it short, S.O.B. Sean O'Brien. And good luck. You have final exams, right, this next week? All right, so good luck with that. And if you haven't thought of this as a possibility, before you take your exams, offer your head and your heart up to God before your exams in a little prayer. Maybe after you study the night before or whatever, and say, Lord, help me to keep my mind clean and focused on what I'm studying, and help me to do the best I can. And you'd be surprised what God will do for you when you ask Him for your help. And be very careful. As somebody who believes in evil, be very careful as you grow and mature from the young adults you are to full adulthood. There's a lot of nasty stuff out there. Always be the good people you are. Always be the good people you are. And you're going to find that's not easy. It's not easy. But it's good. It's good to struggle with it. Okay? Michael?